Hello and welcome to my workshop. Today we complete the design of the trivet serving dish in ArtCAM, and we 3D model it and construct the tool paths and simulate those tool paths, and we complete it ready for the CNC machine. So let's do that now. Okay, so having snipped away at all the lines that we don't require, we end up with our basic shape. Now there's just one last little circle we need to put into the middle here, which is going to be our center boss, and I want that to be 19mm. Okay, so here we have our basic design. We've got to do a few special things with this now. Select just a group like that. So what you can do is select as much as you can, and then if you press down the shift arrow or shift button on the keyboard and then select, you can add on selected parts. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use the arrows on the keyboard to move this design around. So what we want to do is reposition it in the middle of the material. There is another way we can do it, so we'll put it back. So that's just using the up and down arrows and side to side arrows. So you can move things around fairly easily. But if you go up to here and hit this button here, it will position the model or our design in the middle or dead center of the available material, which is what we want to do. So now what we need to do, we need to start the machining process, or the machining strategy. Now this is one of the tools that I converted. Is the round over tool that I converted on the lathe. What we need to do now is make an offset. In other words, if we use this tool on this piece of work in ArtCAM at the moment, right, it would tend to want to follow this line around, which we really want it to do, but it will follow it around with the center of the tool, which should be fairly not very good. It'd be disastrous because it would cut into the material that far and we'd have a square edge. What we want is we want this cutting surface here to do a round over motion around this edge. So to do that, what we need to do is put into here what is known as an offset, or a tool offset, you could call it. So what we're doing here, we're going to measure from the center of this tool. I'll bring it a bit closer. Center of this tool to the cutting edge. You know, within sort of 0.5 millimeter is fine. I'm going to call that 6.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the outer vector, and we're going to duplicate a vector by the use of this tool selection here and this dialog box, and we're going to duplicate that vector, which is a line, 6.5 millimeters outwards. We want it nice and sharp, and we're going to offset, and we can close that dialog box. So that is the line there that the center of the tool is going to follow. So that means then we'll be cutting with this the full cutting surface, and we're not going to dig into the material with this square edge at the bottom. The next thing here I'm going to show you now is how to make a pattern around the outside or jimping, because I just don't want plain wood, although it's going to be nicely rounded over. I want to put a little bit of a pattern in it to just break it up a bit. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the tool selection. In this case I want to draw a circle and click on there. And then come over here to this dialog box and say, okay, we'll have a 3mm radius circle there, so that would be 6mm in diameter, and create. And we can get out of that. Now what I'm going to do now is going to use a new tool, and that is I'm going to place a row of these drillings or circles around this line, and the tool to do that is up here. But first we need to select, and then select the line which you want to copy these circles around. And in this section here we have block copy rotate, or block copy. In other words, it'll copy it in a block, or it'll copy it in so many circles in a ring. But we want to copy along a line. That'll bring this dialog box up here, and we can specify a specific number of circles that we want to place around there, or specify a distance between them. So I'd say 12mm, be in a 6mm hole, and paste. And there you have it. All you need to do is to select these row of circles. Now just pick one and just select it, and it selects the whole lot. Okay, so now what I want to do is put a circle in the center of this one, and I want that to be 3mm. Sorry, 1.5 radius. 5 radius. Create. And get rid of that. So what I want to do is I want to be able to put a screw in here, and a screw in here to hold the material down, so I can machine around the outside, because this material is not going to be there. Initially I am going to be clamping this material, the whole material, from out here, but to be able to machine this around here, I'm going to have to clamp it from the inside. So I'm going to do it in 4 places: center there, center here, and one in the center here with a washer on it. So we have to be selective of what we machine first. So up until this point we will be having a clamp on this side and a clamp on that side, holding the material down onto the bed for us to drill these holes and machine this center part out. And at this stage then we are going to be putting a screw in here, here, here and here. So now the next operation is actually to cut this out, and we're going to cut it out on the line that we've put these row of holes in. And we're going to cut it out with the 6mm, and we're going to run the mill on the outside of the line. So let's get out of this a minute, and what we'll do, we'll select that line, and select create a profile toolpath. And now we have the selection of going of machining the outside, which is the one we actually want, along this line, which means the center of the tool is going to machine along the center of the line, whatever depth we decide, or it will do the inside, which will be on the inside of the line. Follow it around. So as it is, that's correct. Now then, start depth 0, which is the top of the material, finish depth 19. See, ArtCAM, when you alter or specify the material that you're working on, it remembers what you're working on. I suppose it has to, and so it fills in some of the dialog box for you. Now we select a tool, which is 6mm end mill. That one. Settings are going to be quite high. I can leave that. It's not going to step over anyway, but I just leave that blank. 2x5mm. Probably got 2mm. I mean, it's only oak, but you know, I don't like to put the tool under any great stress, and it makes it easier to evacuate the material coming out of it. 50 there, I suppose. 45, 50. 50 might be a bit high, so I'll go 40. 40 millimeters per second, which is a pretty decent rate for a little tool. Plunge rate. We will go 15 millimeters plunge. I'll let the coming through the top zigzag. In this case, we can take this back up to 10. It'll just follow the curve around like this and work its way in. That's all okay. I don't need to leave any bridges or tabs. Calculate. Done. And we're going to use the 6mm again for another profile cut, and this time we're going to do the profile cut on the inside of these circles. Start depth, finish depth, that's all okay. Tool select, 6mm end mill. Gets a bit boring doing this, doesn't it? Step over, that doesn't matter. Step down to probably 50 is okay. 15. Ramps. And so then we can calculate. Okay, so now we can see what we have. So if we go into the 3D section now, and what we're going to do is we're going to simulate everything. So we'll turn these off, and because at any time you can see where the tool paths are. You can turn them off, turn them on, whatever you want to do. So now we're going to simulate. Simulate all tool paths and see what we end up with. that's the sort of thing we're going to end up with. I wanted to give it a toothed gear look, although it's going to be a kitchen item. Being an engineer, I like engineering themes. So there we go, and don't forget this is going to be rounded here, not square. So we'll now cut it on the CNC machine. I hope you've liked today's project, this part of the trivet anyway. So the next video will be machining this on the CNC machine, and that will be, I may incorporate the little bit of machining on the lathe as well to get the finished item. So I hope you've enjoyed this video as part of the group of videos that I'm doing, making this and trying to show you everything that or the full process that you would have to go through to making an item. But bear in mind, it's time consuming to make something like this, but once you've made it and you've got the tool paths, you can set the machine up to cut many of these out per day. So you only have to do this process once, as in do it in ArtCAM. So if you've liked this video today, please subscribe to my channel, or press like, or red box down there, that'll take you to my YouTube channel, where there's I think this is number 113 now. So bye for now.